Hello, Mike. Hey, Jojo. Hey, LA. Hey, Nova. Hey, Mike. How y'all doing? How are you all doing? Welcome. Hey, Anna. Hey, Danielle. How are you feeling? Um, just came on to talk a little bit. Haven't been on here for a little bit. Yep, you're right, Linda. Hey, Linda, how are you? You're right. We're still here. We're still chugging along, and life is good. Life is good as long as we can still say it. Hey, LA, how are you? Mm, I'm good. I'm really, really good. I want to talk about some of the things of last week. You know, open up and have a little conversation. And haven't had a live in a while, and I really feel like I should get back into this. And oh God, do me and leave the stuff behind and just talk. Okay. So we've had a lot going on. We all know my faux pas, my error in speaking. We have to wish Munchie and Chatting a fast recovery from her surgery. Hey, Sassy, how are you? I hope she heals fast and's on her way to a thinner, healthier life. And although I thought she looked pretty good already, I don't think she did. She looked good to me. She really did. Um, we know about. We were all there for the live, and if you have a chance, look at my video and see what you think. We can discuss that, give your opinions. Again, I wasn't trashing anybody. Have no opinion, no reason to trash her. That video, uh, that video was very. I don't like. I said, if it's all real, if not, it's okay. You know, I don't know. I just say, hey, it resonated within me. Some of the things that I had went through. In my life. So, I watched it and I gave my opinion based on what I saw and based on how I think children should be treated. And, that's what that was about. Hey, Bridget, how are you? Welcome. Hey, iPepper, how are you? So feel free to, comment on that or anything else that has been happening this week. Unfortunately, I heard. Oh wow, that's okay. I get you. I get you, Jojo. I get you. I totally get you. I'm more than not. That is my situation. I'm usually in my car listening. So totally be safe. Drive careful. Don't. I heard about what was her name? Oh God. Alana supposedly had and passed away. I'm not sure if that's true. If it's not, I hope it's not true because I would hate to see anybody die. So, and well, Sassy, it just makes me more conscious of the things I say, the way I say it. But I appreciate that and I thank you for it because it really was not meant to be bad. Who are we watching these days? I'm not watching anybody. You know, I don't really, I don't even know. It's sad. Hey, Sade, how are you? It's sad if it's true, and if it's not true, it's sad still. It's still sad. Because, that is not a topic we should laugh about, it's not a topic you throw around. Hey, Caroline, how are you? Welcome. There isn't a peep there. Is everyone napping? Where at? Um, oh no, I haven't put it up yet. I haven't put it up yet. I will. I'm going to put the invite thing in a moment. I just wanted to go over a few things that this week has been going on. Ginger finally quieted down. I gave her the turkey, and I think she went to sleep. She was insistent. I don't know what she wanted, but woo. The cats, oh yeah, the cats they're roaming around here. Oh, really? Alana? Alana? Alana supposedly passed away. I don't know. I guess she did. Her husband reported it, and it's sad. I have heard that it might not be true, but I don't know. I hope it's not true because I hate to think that somebody died. But exactly. There was one over here growling. There's one. They yeah, measure our words exactly. But this week it's been interesting. It has been really actually not even interesting. I would call. What was Alana's channel? I rarely went there, but every now and then I'd pop in there. What was her name? What is her name online? You all might know. I can't remember. Alana. I can't think. I know she did a lot of readings and makeup tutorials and was friends with a few YouTubers, gotten a few scraps with a few YouTubers, and anyway, wow. She, I think, came from a different community, and Alana Morris, yeah, and she came from a different community, and it hasn't been here that long. But I mean, I never was really that much in the loop with her. Only a little bit of the drama, of course. Anyway, it was did you all watch? Hey Denise, how are you? Welcome. Did you all watch Cynthia's react to Adam? I made a reaction. Wow. Oh yeah, devil's advocate. Okay. I made a reaction, and and that reaction was based basically on if everything were true. And I did feel really bad. When I watched that video, I felt really kind of bad because no matter what, I think children should be left innocent. I don't know. I think, I don't know. Yeah, and Julian, I think, among others. Among others, I don't know. It was like one. Yeah, I mean, I felt like this is how I felt about it. Okay. I felt like this, you know, a child should be left out of adult problems. You know, a child should have that safety net. You know, you don't need to know what goes on between the mom and the dad and even before preconception or pre-birth, you know. And that's why I felt bad. You know, I felt like, you know, and it kind of like opened the doors. I'm like, wow, maybe this is why Cynthia was the way she was, you know. Maybe it was like that's what I was going to get to, you know. If it was true, if it were true, you know, I think I can understand why maybe a lot of things that she's gone through and her reaction toward her mother and um it's so awesome though. Okay. um you know, I don't think so either. But I think in in a way of, you know, in every lie there is a little bit of truth. Yeah, I have to, Jojo. I've heard she's done this before too. In every lie, there is a little bit of truth in there. Okay. And on this lie, there might be more than a little bit of truth, or maybe might be all truth, or it might be no truth. But I'm just reacting as if it were all true. Okay. Like I said in the video, if you watch my video, I'm just looking at it like, okay, if this happened, you know, that's probably true. And, you know, I don't know. You know, but, you know, I don't think, I mean, I could just say, I will say a father's presence in a child's life is important. I believe that is very true, especially a girl. I agree. A girl and her father, that it's so important, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And well, that's true. I mean, it could be all. I'm just saying if it was, because I can't say 100%. I don't know. You know, I'm just saying how I felt when I watched the video. I kind of felt I felt like, I'm not gonna say triggered, but I felt kind of like a certain way because I was like, wow, you know, I know when I was a child, my mother never spoke bad about my dad. I went to live with my dad and I seen what a piece of shit he was. And, you know, I had that opportunity. Hey, Amanda, how are you? Welcome. I haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome. And, you know, so, but again, right. I agree. You know, I do wonder why, you know, I know she's fast to throw people under the bus and to say, we're not friends anymore, you know, and da 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 da. She hasn't done that. And sometimes they turn into a good dad because they know what a bad dad is. Well, thank you, LA. That's very true. Wow. They were simply suggestions. Um, I guess somebody, she said that the cat peed on the floor. She threw the kitten to the wall and killed the kitten. And that was sad. And then, you know, he disowned her. And so, that's all. No. I didn't say that. Her dad did. Her dad. No. Her dad did. No, her dad threw the kitten. Well, I really don't believe she grew up in a good home. I really don't. I mean, he threw the kitten on the wall because the kitten peed on the floor. That's what she said. That's what I see too, Pepper. But I just basically, I'm not trying to, throw her to the wind or, what's it called, bash her. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not taking her side, or I'm just saying the story, if I believed it. If I believed it. If you listen to my video, I said, if I believe, I believe some of it might be true. Some of it might be a little bit, I don't know. I do think that, how can I say it? I do think it's like, I don't understand. I don't understand the whole thing. I know. I saw that. It's the Blood Queen. Oh. Oh my God. But I mean, I do think a parent has almost the obligation to make a child's life, you don't tell them to dislike the parent, and, you don't tell, I don't think it's a good thing or good practice to tell your kid, why. Yeah, I agree, Denise. I agree. I think I do believe some of this might have happened. And I don't know how much or how much didn't. I was just using it as a basis of saying, if it's all true, this is how I feel. I think a mother should never go and tell your kid you weren't wanted and your dad wanted a boy. He stayed around long enough to see if you were a boy. Then he was having sex with people all over the place. And, what mother does that? I don't care if you're 13 years old. Why would a parent do that? And of course, and then I'm going to get to the part where, of course, you don't do that. And I could see where it would be almost like she would, Cynthia might have built resentment toward her mother for maybe doing that, because that shapes your mind about how you view men, how you view relationships. Don't trust people, they're liars, and don't trust them, they lie. And well, yeah, she did. And and it's like, if her mom did that, then I don't know. Well, it's true, but I mean, there's certain things we do as a parent. I mean, you have your little, maybe a 5-year-old kid, you don't go and tell your kid, your daddy hates you. Your daddy didn't want you. That, what kind of scarring that does to a kid? That is horrible. Horrible. I mean, yeah, we just come, we all make mistakes, and trust me and believe I made many mistakes, but that's when you're learning how to trust. You're learning how to girls, especially with boys, the first interaction that a female has with a male is their father. Usually a father, sometimes a grandmother. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't. I wish she would have. Again, I don't know. I'm just talking about what she talked about. That's all I know. Um, that's very true. If that might have been that, maybe that's why she did it. Maybe she saw Tommy as a father replacement. Maybe she saw he was somebody to take care of her. But that's not what, I'm just saying. I just saw the video and I just thought it was sad. I felt bad because I'm like, if that's true, if that's true, if it's true, then it kind of explains some of her behavior and the coldness she might have had toward her mother and the coldness she might have had toward Tommy, and maybe even how she views people she don't trust. I mean, you learn that in the very beginning. Now, again, if this is all lies, haha on us or haha on me, but I'm just talking about if this were true. But if anybody wants to come on panel, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to put this up here. And you can. I mean, okay, hold on. It kind of makes you wonder. I mean, it makes me wonder, why, well, Sassy, that girl don't ever cry no time. So, that's why I said this could all be all fake. It could be, all of it could be fake. It could be, but it could be 100% true too. You don't know. See, you'll never know. You'll never know. Hey, Anaberta, how are you? How are you? I mean, I understand it. Adam, I'm just saying what I thought. I said if all of that were true, I can understand why Cynthia was acting like that. Acts the way she does, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know if it was all true. I'm just going on the instance if it were all true. That's all. That's all I'm saying. If it were all true. But if anybody wants to come on panel, you're welcome to. I just think that it made me pause because I don't know if you all saw my video, but I had a pretty horrible life with my father, and well, thank you. I mean, again, I grew up, my father didn't do crap for me until he died. And that's when I got my Social Security because, my father was dead and, they have to support you. So, from the time he died until the time I would graduate high school, I got Social Security. But, that's how I feel. I feel like, I'm not doubting nobody, but I'm not downing her. I'm just saying if it were all true, that's what I'm speaking of. It were all true. I feel sorry for her because again, I think the father is the first line that you learn. A girl especially, the first male in your life. It's usually the first male in your life. Yeah. You know, it is the first male in your life. And, you know, and, you know, well, I honestly, you know, I think that's awesome, Nova. I did not love my father. My father did some damage to me. My stepmother did some damage to me. Abuse, physical abuse by my stepmother, other abuse by my father. My father had nothing to do with me, but that's my story. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's my story, and you know what I mean? That's my story.
Hi, Pam. Hi,
Hey,
everybody.
hey, LA, how are you? How
I'm
are you?
great. Happy Sunday to everybody.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You had
Yeah.
started to say something about your
Oh,
dad, I
yeah.
think,
I was
Pam.
reading this. After a while, CB kept playing the victim, stating people blamed her. She has to understand she played a part in everything all her life. Some of what she's done was her own fault. Well, that's very true. That is very, 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 very true. I you know, I mean, after a while, you you have to move on. But the thing is, sometimes it's very hard to move on, especially if you haven't gone and got any help, and especially if you in your head you're always right. You're always right, and everybody is always wrong. You can't move on. And I mean, it took me a year of IOP to even admit what happened to me as a child. And you know,
That
uh,
says a lot.
you know,
That tells you how deep that stuff is.
I mean, a year before I even talked about it there, and I used to go 3 hours a week, 3 times a week, and it was, you know, um, it's tough. But if it's true, maybe this would be the what's it called, the pinnacle of where she could start saying, okay, maybe she's going to open up and talk more about her life. Maybe it's for views, maybe it's to keep the channel going, maybe it's just all an act. I don't know. But that's just how I see it. Again, I'm not here to dog nobody, so I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, hey, you know,
No, I think it is an interesting topic, but I also think it's that it's relatable to a lot of people, even if it's
right.
not an exact parallel to any of our own experience. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's gone through something, right?
Yeah.
And I think somebody there in the chat said, who was it? Let me scroll back up. I think it was Sade said about understanding that with Cynthia, that she played a part in everything too. I mean, true. That's the point. I think for some people, maybe never get to of
Right.
you get caught in this cycle, especially if you have been in anything that's traumatizing. Like you said, if it's true, I don't know. I haven't really watched her videos. I do want to watch that one though, I think, because I'm interested in that topic. But if it is true, and for anyone for whom it is true, if you come from a background like that where you have trauma, you can get in a cycle where
Oh,
you're stuck in this defensive posture, almost those, no matter how people come to you or approach you, it's almost like you're so ready to be traumatized again in some way that your first impulse is to like get them first or something, you know. Who
right. Right.
knows, maybe that's been her whole thing, or
I mean,
someone else, if not her, other people, you know, whatever, they get stuck in the
I mean,
cycle. But
most
you can come back from it though. I think you're
you
making
really
a good
can.
point. Sure you can.
You have to
Sometimes there's
open
a
up.
pivot. Yeah, there's a
You know
pivotal
what?
point.
You have to open up. You have to realize, okay, you survived, and you know you did survive something that's very painful. Now it's time to say, okay, it's time for me to move on. And I'm not saying move on, forget, but move on, say, okay, that happened, this happened, and now it's time to move on. I know when like, what happened with my dad, I never really even, except that one year I lived with my dad, and it was a year of terror because after I lived with my dad, I ended up going to counseling, you know, not counseling, but I went to a school for kids with mental issues after that. And I had counseling, deep counseling, because I wouldn't go to school. I didn't trust nobody. Seriously. And I
Yeah,
don't trust men. I don't trust men. I've never had a good relationship with men. I don't. I've never, ever had a good relationship with men. Boys at all. Never. Mm-mm. But that
well,
is true. Move on and treating the world like snot. It is true. It's hard to do. And maybe she should take her money and go to counseling. Counseling, it opens up a whole bunch of you, and it does, but it takes a long time. It doesn't happen like 3 easy lessons. It takes could take
if
years,
only.
hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. Even
You
then,
know.
though, a lot of people, I know so many people, you probably do too, everyone here
Mhm.
probably does, who are even therapy itself. They're so distrustful of that. They just can't.
Yeah.
There's just, you get stuck in this cycle of thinking, well, nobody could possibly know what I'm going through. And of course, they can't. Nobody can
No,
know your exact experience but you.
no.
But I mean, what more can any of us try to do in our little humble lives, try to make some connection with someone somewhere who can try. And I think that's part of the importance of trying to surround yourself with people who really do want to help you find the best parts of yourself. And not, it doesn't, like Pam, like you said, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm just gonna move on with my life and forget that happened. Good luck. You're not gonna forget. You
Mike, I
will
saw
not
that.
forget. You
Well,
won't forget, but you can try and figure out how and why things happen, and how and
how
if
to
it
move on.
yeah, and how
How
does
to
it
move
affect how
on.
you treat people now? Do you want to change that? All those things. It's a process. It's long and hard. I mean, I don't think anybody's here to say, well, just get over it. It's so, what's wrong with you that you haven't figured all this stuff out? No, no, no. I mean, for my part, I certainly don't think that.
It's
I
very
know
difficult.
it in my own life. It doesn't work that way. If only it did.
I know
Oh my.
it's very, 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 very difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
from something traumatic, I mean, there's a reason we get to where we're at. We're all born, usually the same way. We're usually born of a mother, and it's what happens to us after that birth is what makes the difference of the type of person we're going to be. Usually it's those first 5 years that forms the trust that you have or don't have. It's those first moments of people who feeling accepted and loved and cherished, and not feeling used, and not even cared about, just an inconvenience.
Absolutely.
Not
That you're
being
in the
blamed
way. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
being there, like being alive. I blame you for being alive, and I'm unhappy because you're here, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy.
Mm-hmm.
My life isn't good because I got to take care of you. And
Yeah.
I've known people, and I'm not saying me, because my mom was amazing. My mom went to work, and my mom did what she had to do. That one year she did send me to live with my dad, and that was a bad year. It was a very, very bad year. And, but, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just really, how can I say? It's just really, 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 it's really bad. I mean, Nova, I pity her, but then you have to think about it, Nova. She raised her.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
She
Yeah.
raised her.
Yeah.
And think about it. If she raised her, and if she saw a problem, she should have been the one to address the problem.
Or to try, if you didn't know
Right.
how, to try and find,
Right.
dig deep in yourself,
If
because this
it's
doesn't
if
come
it's all
natural for some
true, if
people.
this is all true,
Well,
if
if
it's
it's true.
all true,
So
if
we're all
it's all
speaking in
true,
theory. This is all in theory.
yeah,
But in a circumstance like, it doesn't have to be her specifically, but in any kind of
right,
circumstance, because
right,
this is not unique, these sorts of dynamics, right? This happens
right,
in families. But
right.
when it does happen, though, Nova, I think the thing I think about with her growing up, I mean, I know that impulse, I think maybe that you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking to there, to say, oh my God, well, she must have been a nightmare or something. But if you just think, I think a little beyond that, as Pam said, her mom raised her, presumably, or a mom raises the child, right? So
Right.
even if you as the mom are kind of flailing yourself, and I've raised children, we don't,
Right.
sometimes us moms are like, I don't even know what to do. I help. Somebody tell me what I'm supposed to do. But if you really love and care for your child and you don't see them as some imposition and you're not resentful and bitter and
Mhm.
hateful toward them, just somehow dig deep, find it within yourself to ask someone, anyone, a minister, a counselor, call
Mhm.
911 and say, hey, I need some help with my child. Could you have any resources, whatever? And ask for someone to help you figure out something to help your child so that they're not some sort of nightmare or, whatever you're imagining, Nova, right? Because I totally get that impulse, but I do have to say, who is it if not the parents or the caregivers who is supposed to help guide that child and
Hey,
become
Katie, how are
something,
you?
become something other than some monster unleashed out in the world, that comes from somewhere, except in those cases, where it is truly like a what do you call it, a physiological thing in the brain, because those things exist. We hear about them sometimes with serial killers or whatever, but
Mhm.
usually we're talking about much less than that. Just people who have difficulties, past traumas, past conditionings that were not healthy. Usually, as Pam said, there's a reason they call that the formative years from 1 to 7, right?
Mhm.
That's when your hardwiring begins to take shape in your brain and you start learning how to behave or not behave, what's acceptable, what's not, what's a reasonable expectation, what's not. All these kids out here who have this expectation set early in their life, don't expect people to care about you. They're not going
Right.
to care about you if your own parents don't. Good
Right.
Lord, if your own mother, your own father, your own grandmother, whoever it is that's supposed to be caring for you, giving you a safe place and loving you, paying attention, looking at you once in a while in the face. Some people never even look at their child in the face like a human being. It's
Right.
What do you think is going to result from that? What kind of a human being do you think is going to result from that kind of
I
neglect
don't
and mistreatment?
I don't doubt that Mary wasn't a good person. She seemed like a very pleasant person.
Mary's the mom, right?
Yeah, Mary was
Okay.
my she seemed
Yeah.
like a very pleasant person. That's LA.
Oh, hi, Birdwatch.
You
Yeah,
know.
that's the lady speaking.
LA,
My
I mean,
icon doesn't. Let me
Mary,
just say, my icon doesn't match because I didn't have it on the StreamYard side. It's me speaking. Let me type in there.
right.
There you go. Yeah.
I think Mary probably did all she knew to do, but I think there was a lot of things that I think there was a lot of things that was going on that, in my view, a child should know about. A child should never know that they weren't really wanted. But never should ever, those words should never cross the lips of a parent to their child, even
I
if it's
agree.
true, even if it's you, even if wherever your conception was through.
I agree, Pam.
Maybe not as a child, not ever as in those formative years, never. Those are the years that you owe your child to teach them you are wonderful, you are loved, you are my gift, and you are my most precious possession. If a child is a possession, but you are the most precious thing to me right now and forever, you know. And but I don't I I don't know. I hope so. I hope so that, that Cynthia would have been able to have gotten some hope, some help, but maybe she never did. Maybe Mary never, um, maybe, I mean, how does one turn out like that? People are nasty in general. Excuse me. People are nasty in general sometimes, but sometimes people
It's true, and a lot of people
are just
never.
nasty people, not,
Yeah, nasty, self-centered, only out for themselves. And it could be that they were conditioned that way because they were treated the same way. I mean, you hear that a lot about how child abuse or neglect or of varying degrees of severity, whatever one might, we all have our different standards for that.
right,
But it is generational. So you kind of pass it on, right?
right,
But I agree with you so much, Pam, what you just said about maybe the worst thing that you could say to a child. Nobody wanted you anyway, or just like to plant this little seed in their head. Because a child, when they're forming their own sense of their own place in the world, you essentially said there is no place for you. That is such an undermining of a little child, especially, when they're just starting to form like even a distinction between themselves and the external world from their body, right? That's a kid who's going to be no confidence at all, always trying to make themselves invisible, thinking they deserve any kind of bad treatment, from running the gamut from just being ignored, being bullied in school, being straight up abused physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, the rest. It's horrible. You cripple a child when you do that. Mentally, emotionally, I really think you do. I do not think you're overstating that one bit. Not one bit.
No, but do I think she really, thank you, Ellie. Do I think she actually did it? Is telling the truth. I don't know. In my video, I was just saying if she is telling the truth. I think there might be bits of the truth here and there. I believe, in every lie, in every lie, there's a little bit of truth, So let's just say, I do think there was, I think Cynthia had resentments toward Mary. That was obvious. I think, and I can imagine that, Linda. I really can.
Yeah, I can too.
I think there was bits of the truth in there, and then it was, like what's called giving a license to, when you're telling a story, you get a creator's
license. Yeah,
poetic license. She just added to it, just maybe added to it to make it a better story. But I know words come out of people's mouths, and we don't think kids hear. Let me tell you something. Kids hear everything.
They sure do. They are watching and listening.
Hear everything. Okay. They hear everything, and their minds are like little tape recorders. And I would say computers, but back then they didn't have computers. So like little tape recorders.
Analog. That's right. Yeah.
And it's like, so I think something was truly said. I believe something was true. Hey, Mary, how are you? Welcome. Haven't seen you for a while. I'm glad to see you. I believe something was said. Do I believe the whole story? No. But I think, like I said, if the whole story were true, that's what I'm commenting on. If it was not true, if none of this is true, well, she's really doing her mother and her father a disservice. But I do think there's some truth in there, because I can almost guarantee you she had some resentments. Okay. And I think when the story she told, it kind of explained it, but it could be almost like excuses. But if it was true, they weren't excuses, they were reasons.
There you go. Man, I think that is such an important distinction to make, Pam, because it's very easy. Sometimes people will just shut down an entire, what could have been a really useful and fruitful discussion. They'll just shut it down. They'll say, oh, you're just giving excuses. You're just giving excuses. And sometimes people are. They're purposely trying to throw you off the trail, so to speak. But a lot of times I think, okay, we can all just take a couple minutes and just consider, okay, but what if there is some truth to it? Or as you say, even if there's even a little, that might be worthy of, okay, that doesn't mean you say, okay, and now you're forgiven for all the rotten things you've done. Let's say if a person has done a lot of rotten things. No, that's not what it means. As you said, rather it's just like, oh, okay, at least now we have a partial reason. Maybe, again, if it's true, a partial reason. And our brains, humans, we have this pattern seeking behavior, pattern recognition. It's a thing that we have as humans. And when you see someone acting in a way that maybe it's really hard for you to understand, it's like, I would never treat somebody that way. I would never, how could someone, we've all heard ourselves say this, right? How could you do that? Why would she do that? We want to it's another way to say, what's the reason? Why in the world would you do that? So to me, I find it useful to sometimes consider these kinds of circumstances. Like I said, in this case, it happens to be this person. It could be any of us. It could be anyone. I think that's the value, though, in just considering what's at play, just to better understand. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that could be the reason.
Oh,
Better understanding.
Let me jump in here on this conversation. Okay. My son has dark black hair. Okay. Okay. The mother has brown hair. Guess what color my grandkid's hair is?
Red. Probably red. It's a recessive gene. Yeah, that's why.
My grandkids have the brightest,
I believe it,
red hair. And I'm like, whoa, but I couldn't deny them because they look like their dad. The kids look just like their dad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter the haircut, because you don't know who has what color in the background,
Yeah, and it is. Yeah, that's a recessive gene, and it will come out maybe 5 generations later. There's probably some grandparents way back, 6, 7, who knows, great, going way back, that had some sort of auburn hair. Yeah. That is so cool, though. I think that's cool.
I had to jump in there because I kept on seeing this. And I was thinking, my son has dark black hair. Okay, curly hair, mind you.
Yeah,
my hair is this. Okay,
straight hair. Yeah.
Well, not gray.
Straight. I said straight hair.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. But no, and her mom, the mom has brown hair.
Yeah.
And these kids have red hair. Long red.
I think that's adorable. It's fascinating. I love it.
Straight hair, mind you.
I love it.
Love it. But I don't know. And I know it's true because they look just like my son. The kids look just like my son. They're a little darker, but they're a little darker. But I'm telling you, the straight hair is a real thing.
I believe it. Genetics, it's interesting, man. It'll throw you for a loop. Have you be questioning things like, wait a minute now, where were you 9 months ago?
Yeah. No, I could see. Look, my grandson looks just like my son.
Yeah.
In the face, even resembles me in some ways.
Oh, sweet.
My granddaughter looks more like her mom, but she looks like her brother too, and looks like my son. So yeah, I had to jump in there because I kept on seeing. I'm like, I gotta tell him this,
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting. Nothing. Don't And my kids look so. Hey, K.E. Rose.
Hi, K.E. Rose. Hey.
And my kids look. My son looks more like me, and my daughter looks more like her dad.
That's so interesting.
And my son has more of my attributes, and my daughter has more of his dad's attributes, teeth and all. My son has my teeth, screwed up mouth, but his mouth is nice now. He got it fixed. But my daughter, perfect teeth. I mean, it's just crazy.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it is so cool.
It is. It is, and I know who the father is for sure. So,
Good. Hey, what's up today, K.E. Rose and Mary? Hi, Mary Muckry.
Anyway, but I'm not saying I believe 100%. I do believe in every little story there is a modicum of truth, and my always thought is this: we've been wanting a story. We've been wanting to know some truth. We've been, tell your story. That's what I've been saying all along. That I tell your story. Why don't you tell anything? Tell something. Tell something. And so maybe she just told the story for creative license, but I don't know. Oh, and here's another thing. My mom was adopted, so I don't know what that side looks like. My mom was totally adopted, so
so that just adds another element to it. Yeah,
I have no idea that my mom was totally adopted. So yeah, but I just wanted to give my opinion on what I thought about it, and
Well, I haven't seen your video yet. I'm going to watch it. I just was roaming
It
around and saw you were live, so I
triggered
popped
me a tiny bit.
over.
It
But
triggered me just a little tiny bit. I was like, man, I looked at it and I was like, wow, and I was like, could it be true? And then, of course, thank you, Mary. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't say for sure. I can't even say even if any of it is, but I'm going to believe that something in there was true. And I gotta believe there is some reason she had such resentment toward her mother, and she had such a resentment toward, in life.
yeah,
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. But I do believe a child has the right to come into this world protected and being loved. And I think that is your human right. I mean, it doesn't always happen. True enough, we know that. But I do believe that, to feel anything less than that can only damage a child.
yeah,
And if you're
yeah.
told that if you're told, your dad doesn't love you, what kind of message does that leave in your head? And it's sad. I mean, I'm not her fan at all. I'm not a fan at all.
No, but you're a human. You have empathy.
I feel like that could have been the pivotal moment, like going to court. I would never want my daughter to go to court with me trying to get child support, trying to get increased money or whatever. Never. That is the part that's between parents.
100%
I know what
agree.
happens. I know what happens.
It happens all the time where the parents
Thank
will
you,
use the kids as a tool or as a bargaining chip, as a weapon almost. Oh my God, it's like the height of cruelty for a kid, because a kid doesn't know. A kid loves both parents, even if one of the parents is mean or even if they're abusive. You hear that all the time, that kids still want to please their parents.
Nope.
So to put them in a position to take a side, it's horrible. It's horrible. We know it happens all the time, but I don't know. And look, I'm not here to like moralize for anybody, but it's just, it's terrible. And I'll say this too. I haven't seen her video yet. I am going to watch that one. I don't normally watch her videos, but just because I'm interested in this subject, I am going to watch it. I hope though that even if it's not 100% true, let's say it's embellished. Okay. We'll just use that word.
Right.
But if, as you say, there's some kernels of truth in there, the fundamentals true. I hope that's the case, because I sure would not like to think that someone would just wholesale make 100% lies about such a serious thing, because it is so serious. Hi, Capricorn girl.
Hey, Tara, how are you? Now I'm going to tell you a little bit
Tara.
about my mother and my father divorced. My mother, I was born in California. My mother and my father divorced, and he went back and he got married to some woman in southern Indiana, almost Kentucky. Okay. And so my mom had to come back with me in tow and my brother, my grandmother, and we had to, set up housekeeping somewhere else. Okay. And so I grew up, I was like maybe 4, no, I was a little older, maybe 6. Okay. My mom didn't have a lot of money. My dad didn't want to give my mom any money. So my mom, and I believe, I did go to an eye doctor. I needed some eye care because I had this thing called a wandering eye, where your eye goes this way or something or another. My eye went that way. Okay, so I had to wear a patch. My dad wouldn't give my mom the money, and it kind of like they said, well, let her come down and live with me. That's my dad in his new wife. Okay. And I did. I mean, the whole from the day one to the last day I left, it was a horror show. It was. There was nothing good about it. There was no good anything there at all, because everything was, it was just bad. Okay, let's just put it like that. Okay. So, after that, I don't even know where I was going with this. I'm just saying, sometimes parents will hold back certain sort of insurances, don't want to give it to, because you're the other kid on the other family. And you're the one taking away a little bit of our child support that should be coming into this household, because they look at this household like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the household that you're supposed to be supporting. And here you have this one out here over here. So here, the kid from this household over here is brought into this household. You know, I'm a kid from another relationship.
The resentment, all that.
And so it was nasty. It was bad, and it was abusive, and it really was. It wasn't like when I was 6, you know, I was 6. So
using you as a tool, that's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, tool, right. So my dad didn't want to give me back to my mom because my mom was saying I can get child support. So my mom snuck and got me. We were still in Indiana, southern Indiana. And she came back and got me, and I got to go back living with my mother. But when I came back home, I was mentally screwed up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know, and it was crazy. It was truly crazy. And when I think about it, the choices and kids, and when you have kids, it's really horrible. It's horrible, the things that kids do and they go through. And you know, I don't hate it. You know, I didn't hate it. I don't hate my mom for it, but I hated that situation. Let me go back. I hated that situation. I didn't hate my mom for it, but I think in a weird way, I was resentful toward my mom for sending me away.
Makes sense.
You know, and then when I raised my kids, I didn't raise my kids like. I would never let my kids go with nobody. Never. And and there would be no way in the world would I ever, you know, I just wouldn't. I'm
that way too. Maybe to a fault, but I feel like better to err on that side of things than to put them at risk or have to burden them with adult things. That's the way I think of it.
Right.
You see, Pam, do you see there what Katie Rose was sharing about her experience with her mother and her ex? That's See that I'm telling you, we go through these things and it's terrible. It's hard to deal with in life, hard. Right?
You know, there's like, that's why my mother and my ex, oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah, see there, and then she said most recently down here that they turn them against you. Yeah, see, Kate Rose, that's what we're saying. Using the kids as like an emotional tool.
It is.
It's so cruel to put a child. I don't care, a little child or a teenager, when you're too young to be able to just say, screw this, I'm out of here. You're not going to use me like this. Kids don't have that option.
Nope.
They're at the mercy of the adults who should know better, you know, and then if they don't know better at first, if you learn better, do a little better by your kids. And if you're not up to it, try to find somebody who can help you. You know, I mean, we live in a tech world these days. I hope that more people are availing themselves of resources, and that is any of us here, if you see somebody struggling around you, say, look, do you need help finding resources? It seems like you're struggling. It's not a thing of judging, by the way. For me, I will say I am kind of a judgy person. I'll just put it out there. Mm-hmm. I know that that's my first impulse, but I try to think a little beyond that and have that empathy like I think you had, Pam, when you watched that video, even though we all know we've seen some rotten things from this person. Okay, we all know that. That doesn't mean there might not be some seed of humanity somewhere. And if you do have any empathy, I think it's clear that you do, Pam, probably coming from the background that you do. It's hard not to, as a human being to respond to that and feel something, you know, and say, wow, I don't know how much of this is true, if any, but Lord, if it is, sure you do.
I feel like that was really sad. And it, you know, like we're always looking for a reason, you know, everybody's saying, well, why doesn't she just, you know, okay, we know what she's done. We've seen the videos, you know, we got all that. Now, I mean, if we want to go deeper, or you just want to stick with the videos, you say, well, why did that happen? Why does this person do that? Why did that person do that?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. And that's why I say, well, maybe that is why. Maybe that is why. Maybe because she, you know how you get cut down, cut out, and you're just done. And
Mm-hmm.
you say, okay, I'm done with this, and I will get what I can get, and I'm going to do what I have to do, and and maybe she saw Tommy as a way of, as a father figure. I don't know. And maybe, maybe she truly loved him. I don't know. But I would say what I saw, didn't, equal up, but,
Right. And then that is, to me, that's kind of like phase two, because it's one thing to put some of your story out there, and maybe it's part of your life story that people didn't know before, and they didn't know it before.
right.
So
Right.
that's one thing. There's that half of things, right? Okay, so now you put some stuff out there, and you've revealed certain things about yourself that maybe provide, like you phrased it, and I think appropriately so, reasons maybe for what led me to be the kind of person that you've seen up to now. But now going forward from that point, to me,
Mhm.
it's kind of like, okay, now the things have shifted a little bit for me as an observer, because it's like, oh, okay, now I can see some of the reasons. Now that I see that, and I have maybe a broader context in which to consider some of these behaviors, now going forward, okay, now it's a little different. Now it's not, if going forward, if you want to still behave in my
Mhm.
subjective opinion is
Uh-huh.
badly and treat people poorly, now it is an excuse and not a reason,
Right.
because
Right.
now you've kind of exposed a part of yourself, you've been vulnerable, you've essentially invited people to try and understand and have empathy, which most people will if they're human, right? And they're not
Right.
cruel.
Right.
Fine. We can all try and understand. That doesn't mean we have to like it. Doesn't mean you have to like a person. But now
Right.
if you still continue to treat people crappy and act like a, whatever, so and so, that's different now for me
Right.
as an observer. It's like, okay, I can't excuse that. What's your excuse for that now?
That, and I was looking at Katie Rose. Oh my God, this story is so sad. It is just
It's
so.
yeah, it's very sad. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine that. Oh my God. That's why it's so strange when people step in your life, and they want to take sides, and there's always somebody wants to take sides, but then when it's your own parent that sides with.
That probably feels like such a terrible betrayal. I hope, Katie Rose, I hope you have some people, one or two people around you who can sort of
Really healthy.
support you and, yeah, like let you vent, let you cry, let you do whatever you need to do. Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough.
People put on a good facade, or in front of people. They always
Man, they sure can, I'll tell you.
smile, and oh, you're so sweet, and then in behind closed doors, the devil is released.
Yeah, it's
You know,
true.
the devil is released. I'm not calling your mom a devil by any means, but I'm just saying. But they when you get to know real people really for how they really 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 are, sometimes you'd be surprised the person. Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that, Katie. Wow.
I
Oh.
could see, yeah, and those are the kinds of things when it is people that are literally your family, it's the deepest kind of betrayal of trust, because again, it's like, who of all people, who would you expect to have your back and have your best interest at heart? And okay, we all make mistakes. Let's say you make some mistakes, but would be there for you on the other side of that and want to do things to uplift you and love you and support you. So yeah, gosh,
You know,
it's
I was
terrible.
looking at Mary, which she says she should have changed her ways when she was old enough to understand right from wrong. Ooh, I'm sorry. Okay, right from, but there's so much. That's very true. I mean, but it's hard because maybe in her eyes, she thought she was just angry and didn't even know. Maybe she thought you know when I think about her, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, oh my God,
You
but
know what, too? I will say, Mary, it's shocking to me. I mean, I'm, how old am I? 56? I was born in 64, so I'm in my 50s, right? I do. I have to literally do the math sometimes because I don't really pay attention to birthdays like that much anymore. But I'm certainly old enough, but it's still shocking to me, even at my age, to encounter grown people my age and older who, for all the world, it seems like they still don't know how to like be a decent human being. What I mean, and I know that again, some of this stuff is objective, but you're saying like right from wrong. I think we all kind of know what's treating people right and treating people wrong. Someone who's terminally ill, you're not going to treat them a certain way. But it's shocking to me still to find out that if there are grown people who don't seem to know, their sensibility is so askew compared to what I think, well, surely by now they've learned this stuff. But again, going back to what we were saying earlier, how do you learn that stuff? A lot of it comes from being modeled for you when you are a child. If you treat people with dignity and respect and love and support, as opposed to just sort of like treating them like garbage or somebody to be used until they don't serve a purpose, and then they're not useful to you anymore.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, if you can make mistakes. Okay. We can make mistakes because of circumstances, or even, you might have even been on drugs or not. I'm saying anything.
It could be anything. Sure. Yeah.
Anything. You can make mistakes, but then when you learn better, you do better. So
that's the way,
if she, say for instance, her mom felt, well, Cynthia should never have done that, or said that to Cynthia. But maybe she thought she was doing the right thing. Maybe she thought she was telling her the right thing. But sometimes like this, maybe on KE, your mom just didn't get it. Maybe she just didn't get it. Some people don't get it. They're so oblivious. They don't understand. They think, well, I did this, and I did this, so I'm a good parent. Yeah, it's just,
like a checklist.
How are you? I don't know.
That's a good point, Katie Rose, that you can't let them make you sick anymore. Sometimes it is important to know, okay, look, I know this is supposedly my family, maybe biological, but that doesn't always count for everything. If someone is actively hurting you, damaging you, undermining you, manipulating you emotionally, et cetera, it's okay and it's appropriate. And I would say it's absolutely healthy for you to set some boundaries and say, you know what, I can't allow it anymore. It's too toxic to me. If you come away from any interactions with any of these people, regardless of what their relationship is, and you feel tired, you feel sick, depressed, sad, angry, that's not in your best interest. I don't think anybody, well, let me say this, anybody who would tell you, well, yeah, but that's your mom. Yeah, but that's this. Yeah, but that's your friend.
Right.
No, it's not. It doesn't give them a right to leave you in that state. Nothing gives people the right to mistreat you. So good for you. For having a boundary and saying, no, I'm not going to let that make me sick anymore. We all only have our one life. Only you are living your life. They're not living your life. You are. You get to choose.
I agree. I think she truly feels, I think I don't think she was ever really, truly, appreciated, or even really maybe even wanted, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, Louise, how are you? But, who knows? You just never know. You don't know what her thinking was, or her, I mean, I can only imagine if my mom told me, the things that she said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Mary, I mean, I can see people saying that. I mean, but again, I mean, it's always easy for us out here, anybody who's observing, to say that. I include myself, if we're commenting on other folks, anybody commenting on us might say the same thing. Oh, I hope this person's in therapy. Well, I mean, Probably. I mean, I think because there's so many different kinds of therapy, right? There's not a one size fits all. Anybody who's ever sought therapy will know that. Sometimes it takes you many tries before you find someone, whether it's individual therapy, group therapy, whatever it might be. But then too, I do believe that it's not necessarily for everyone. But I think in most people's cases, if they are dealing with any sort of issues, mental health issues, or past issues with trauma, any kind of issues in their childhood or in their past relationships, at least to give it a try. I mean, that's what I suggest to my family and friends. At least give it a try. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but you don't know if you don't try. And you got to try more than once, because like I said, you're going to be the unicorn. If you happen to be the one person in the world who the very first therapist you try is absolutely perfect for you, I don't know anybody for whom that's happened. Pam, has that ever happened for you? I don't know anybody for whom that's happened.
Well, actually, to be honest with you,
have you had luck in that regard?
The first time I went to the IOP, it was perfect, seriously. And I cried when it was over. I mean, I didn't like it all.
Like the relief of it? Were you crying sort of almost from the relief of it? Like, oh my gosh.
I loved it.
That's awesome.
Because it was something that, I mean, there was times when I didn't want to go. There'd be times when, there'd be so many people in there. And then there would be times when, like I would get mad at because the psychiatrist didn't do the IOP. It was the counselor that did it. And I didn't like the psychiatrist came in there. I didn't like that. I liked it when the counselor was there because, I just didn't like that. But I do think that counseling helps, but you have to be open to it too.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to say, look, this is what's up. This is how I feel. This is what's up and this is how I feel. And if it doesn't happen within 1, 2, or 10 sessions. It might happen almost at the very end, because you go through, there's a lot of different layers, there's so many different layers,
Yeah.
To get to where you need to be,
I'm so glad for you, Pam, though, that you did kind of look out. But the way you said it there, I think that you're making a good point. When you said, I really didn't like it when the psychiatrist got involved, but with the IOP, but that's because I guess that was the piece that really seems to work for you. So that's awesome.
The psychiatrist was just a person. I mean, I don't see her anymore because she wanted to go to Zoom, and I don't want to do Zoom meetings. I don't do Zoom. I mean, if I can come to the meeting, if I can come to your office, you can come to the office too.
A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people agree with you.
But I don't know. I really like it. I think everybody in the world could do it just a little bit, just a little bit. Can you guys know how much time they could be? You never know. I never really thought that. I mean, I've heard that before, but I don't know. I've never thought that. All I gotta say is, she has a lot of she has a lot of resentment. Cynthia has a lot of resentment and a very mean streak. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And
that can come from abuse, though. I've known. I'm thinking of one person in particular that I knew years ago, and she, it's so interesting for me to look back now at this vantage point when I'm not in the thick of it. Because sometimes when you're right up close to something, it's almost like you can't see the forest for the trees kind of a thing.
Right.
But when I look back, it's almost like she was a Jekyll and Hyde. Like sometimes she would just be almost, we used to call it sickly sweet or nasty nice. She just too over the top nice. But other times so mean. Right. To what Capricorn Girl there is saying about CB having a mean streak and resentment and jealousy. Yeah. That sounds so much like this person that I knew years ago. But I know of this, my former friend, of her background. It was a terrible background. I mean, it wasn't like super, super horrible. But I mean, it was bad enough that it was clear, okay, you're going to damage a kid when you treat them the way that she was treated. Mm-hmm. And for her, that's how it came out for years. She was like, you would never know. She would be really, really nice if she needed something. She needed favors. She needed to borrow something, whatever it might be. And then
Right.
other times just mean seemingly for no reason.
Hmm.
Just because she could be.
Right.
And
Right.
it's bizarre like that. Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't know. I haven't had contact with her in years, but someone told me that it seems like she's a little bit different now. She's gone through some things, some difficult,
Hmm.
serious things, that sort of seems to have changed a little bit. But that
Hmm.
could just be a function of, like you said, Pam, and it's one of my favorite sayings, I think we all maybe hopefully live our lives to some extent like this. When you know better, try and do a little better. That's
Hmm.
all you can ask of people, I think.
You're right. You're
You
right.
know?
You said she recently said she gave a kindergarten or first grade teacher a hard time. But remember, this goes back to another thing. Her mother lied to get her into kindergarten a year earlier when she wasn't mature
And see,
enough.
you're learning. What are you teaching a kid when you do that?
So when
To
you lie,
manipulate people
you get
and
that
lie.
right.
Lie to get me
So
one. Yeah. Yeah.
right, and she knew just because you're a bigger kid doesn't mean that you're mature mentally. You're still a 4-year-old. You're
Yeah.
still 4 years old, no matter what.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I think there was maybe Mary did wasn't as I think maybe Mary wasn't how can I say wasn't understanding children that much. I don't think she understood. It might have been just because of not enough knowledge, or maybe that's the way she was treated, or maybe she looked at Cynthia and maybe I just want to get the hell away from me. I don't know. You
Yeah.
know.
Anything's possible. I mean, yeah, unfortunately it's not just, you can't just say oh no, I don't think that's quite true. If that
Well,
was true, she would probably be making her live in a different way. I think there's probably a market for that for that sort of
yeah,
thing. Like, I don't know.
probably, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anything is in the range of possibilities. I don't know. Who really
Right.
knows? Katie Rose, I think that's CB's mom, right? Am I
Right.
understanding
Right.
correctly?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Doesn't act mature. I mean, and again, too, it's like you can get stunted. I mean, I think that's a well-known, uh, what do you call a formula or a factoid of in the therapeutic community, that when kids are
Really?
mistreated, sometimes they can get kind of stunted emotionally at whatever age they were when they experienced the most trauma. So, and you got to work to overcome that. It doesn't just spontaneously happen.
I guess I can understand that if they started like here we have preschool and they could go at 4, but if you start at 4 and all the other kids are 5 or 6, you are even that 12 months is a big difference.
Yeah,
It
it
is a
really
big
is.
difference. It's not like you can just because you're big doesn't mean your mind is developed. You're still a baby. You're
Yeah,
still a baby. I know people who still wear diapers and they were 4.
yeah,
I know people who
yeah,
still wear diapers and they are 4. And I mean, and ask a 4-year-old to behave like a 6-year-old is like,
yeah. It's
yeah.
yeah, that's a steep learning curve when you're that little. A Capricorn girl, CB started very young. I'm not sure. Do you mean started school very young? I'm not sure what you mean there. Nova, school starts 4. Is that real school? I mean, what I mean is, like, I know here we have something called Head Start or kindergarten, which is school, but it's like, you're not learning like adding and subtracting. In most schools anyway, you're not. It's more like learning to sit still, coloring within the lines, some social dynamics. I think, that said, my kids are all young adults, so it's been a long time since I had a little kid in school. So if they wanted to change their spoiled ways, you know what, Sade? That very well could be. Sometimes people get so accustomed to being the center of something, in a good or a bad way, by the way. Let's
Right.
remember, sometimes when people think of someone being the quote unquote center of attention, sometimes I think people make an assumption that it's in a good way. No, it can be like, how there's this idea that a kid will act out to get any kind of attention, even if it's negative attention. The point is, just notice that I'm here. Notice that I exist, that I'm someone. So yeah, spoiled ways. You can be spoiled in a what we might think of as a good way, because someone gives you lots of good attention and good things and fun material things if you're into that sort of thing. Or it could also just be spoiled for attention, period, where it's just like, notice me, look at me, you know, which I think is really, I don't know, it can really warp your sense of reality, truly reality, because the fact of the matter is most people have their own lives and they've got their own past and their own presents and futures to be thinking about. And, you know, you're just not going to be the center of everybody's world. That's just not how it works.
I think too, you know, again, I don't know. I'm just, you know, the video I made was only commentary on if I believed everything was true. That's all. And I think I've stressed that enough. If I believed everything was true.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe because of Tommy's age, maybe she couldn't. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, all of those things could fit into thing. And maybe it was a good idea not to, too. You know.
Yeah. I don't necessarily, I will say this, Mike. I don't, because I see your question there, why didn't she have children? I am really slow to speculate about that sort of thing or think that I know why or try to guess. I mean, I guess maybe it's kind of fun sometimes to wonder and think we could maybe figure it out. But I mean, I know people who are, as they say, childless by choice, just by choice. And it's not really terribly deep other than they feel like in today's world, whether it's because the combination of whatever they believe about the environmental changes, they don't want children to, you know, have that kind of future, and or they're like, well, you know what, we kind of like our lifestyle and kids cost a lot of money to raise them right, and we don't feel like we're making quite enough money to really give proper schooling, and then, you know, college is so expensive, whatever the range of reasons might be. So I don't know, it could be a medical thing, all of the above, none of the above, who knows, it's an interesting question. I don't know if she's ever addressed that on her channel. I don't think she has. Is that she doesn't talk about that stuff.
What do you think would be a great okay, why do you think she wouldn't have kids? What do you think would have happened? What is your opinion? You think that they think the statement probably, but no. But what do you think is your opinion? But anyways, I don't know. I don't know why people have kids and don't have kids. I really don't understand why, you know, why people do that. I don't know. I never put my I never had kids in preschool or anything like that. Yeah, your thoughts, you know.
Yeah, mine were just, I was saying there to Nova, mine went to kindergarten, which they had in California well, 3 of my kids started school in California and finished elsewhere, and then just the regular course. But I know these days a lot of, I don't know, it seems to be a push to get them started earlier and earlier, which I don't know, I can see both sides of that.
Yeah. I don't know.
It depends. Capricorn, I see what you're saying there about scoliosis. I know a couple people I went to school with, have a good friend still who's has. It depends on the degree of curvature and whether or not it's going to affect your pelvis and twisting of your internal organs and stuff like that. Is my understanding. It might not have idiopathic scoliosis if it is that, which most of the time it is in girls. It may or may not have any bearing at all on an ability to carry a child naturally, and even not to get too, I don't know if it's okay to use these words here, but TMI, you know, vaginal delivery versus cesarean, even, it might not have any bearing at all. It just depends on the degree of severity. I have no idea in her case what the degree of severity is because I haven't really watched her channel, but
right.
True, Capricorn girl. True.
I'll be right back in a moment, okay?
Sure, yeah.
For a moment.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just keep it going, okay?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, Capricorn girl, they're capable. I mean, they produce the sperm. I think it gets weaker, but you know, that's absolutely true. That's why you see a lot of times in pop culture, you'll see these, especially, let's just say, these really wealthy older guys, these billionaire old guys like the Murdoch and so on and so forth. They'll be like 80, 85, and they'll have their young trophy wife 25 or 30, well within the window of their childbearing years. Because, as women, we only have a finite number of childbearing years, right? But yeah, they can keep, as long as they can produce the sperm, and they can, of course, take drugs to continue doing that. But yeah, it's different for the men. And if they have enough ego, some of them will try to keep going and producing as many offspring as they can. But yeah. Yeah, women, there's exceptions too with women, of course. There are these far outliers who will continue to be able to carry naturally, their uterus. They can carry and have a natural pregnancy, but those are the far outliers. Yeah. That's interesting though. Yeah, Claudia, that's, and that huge discrepancy like that was a lot more common back then. I know two of my grandmothers and my great grandmother, there was a huge gap like that too. And see, now yours, they had 4 grandchildren. One of mine had like 12 or 14, but they were farmers. And back then, of course, this sounds so crude from today's standpoint to some people, but it was a very almost a practical issue in terms of like the question of why to have children or when to have children. They're going to work the farm. That's a family business. So it's like you have as many as you can, and hopefully they'll be healthy. But back in the day, before vaccines of all kinds, not to be controversial in the vaccine discussion, but child death was a lot more common than it is now. So you could just count on, even if you had, let's say, 10 kids, a few of them might or might not make it to, teenage age. So it was very different back then. And it wasn't that long ago when you think about it, right? Denise, you wish you could have another one, really? Wow. Yeah, Mike, that's so interesting. So we have the same birth year, and my mom was 36 when I was born. So our moms are very close in age too. But Mike, my mom died though when I was 13, which was 1977. Yeah, that's, back in the 70s, smoking was like wasn't even a thing that anybody thought twice about too much back then. My mother was a lifelong smoker, which might be why I never even tried it. Never was tempted. Yeah, Capricorn girl, they were screened, but I mean, depending on the school, maybe she just wasn't there that day. Maybe she was, the note wasn't sent home. Maybe someone made a mistake. Maybe her parents didn't understand how serious it was, and that, you really need to follow through on this. That sort of thing, sorry to say, does slip through the cracks a lot. I've seen it myself around my my kids' friends over the years. So I mean, that's not unheard of, It's sad, but I mean, unfortunately it's not unheard of. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Yeah. 12 years ago, if you're like me, it's like 12 years, that's a long time, but also 12 years, that's nothing. I still think of my mom every single day. And like I said, she died in 1977. I still miss her. Still miss her. Yeah. They're adding in kindergarten. You know what? God bless them. Good for them. Let the children learn. Let the children be free to learn. I'm for it. I mean, I'm for kids learning stuff, but just not too much. I do think kids need to just be able to go outside and run and be kids too, and not have too many actual lessons I'm talking about academic lessons too soon. She has rods. Yeah, Harrington rods, usually that procedure is called. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with that. Yeah. Yeah. It is sad. Yeah. Yeah. It's sad, but I think like anything else in life, it's all in how you cope or how you can deal with things. And sometimes it's like we don't know how, which again, I think is, if you haven't been taught, if you don't have resources around you, which a lot of people don't, that's why it's so important to like surround yourself with supportive energy and supportive people, and to try to steadily try, if it doesn't come naturally for you, to reach out and ask for help, to try and get to a place where you can Because there's, especially since we are in such a technological age, there's a lot of help for a lot of things out here, but it's so difficult for a lot of people. It's so funny because technology, I think it's a dual-edged sword. It brings people closer together in one sense, but I think it also isolates people. It makes a lot of people very uncomfortable talking in real life, or actually meeting people, or asking for actual help, things like that. So yeah, it's hard, Katie Rose. You're right. You're absolutely.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay.
Hey, welcome back, Pam. Yeah, no, that's very similar to my timeline too. Yeah. We were talking about our moms, a couple of us, our moms being in their 30s when we were born. My mom was 36 when I was born.
Let me see. My mom was, okay, I was born in 62. My mom died. So my mom was 30 when she had me. My mom was 30.
Okay. Yeah. Mike said his mom was 35. Nova says hers was in her 30s. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So you can definitely have kids. I mean, they used to consider that, and I think even today that is still considered a quote unquote high risk pregnancy.
Yep.
Even though with the the rapid acceleration of medical interventions and all kinds of increases in knowledge around pregnancy, it's much, much less risky now, especially if you do have good prenatal care throughout from the beginning, but it still is just technically because your body is different at that age. So
I think you're more mature when you're old. The older you are,
absolutely.
Of course, you're more mature, and you have settled down. It's hard. I was 20 when I had my son, and I was not mature.
Tell me about it. I was 19, when my oldest son was born. I know,
no clue about. I was reading books on how to change diapers.
I know.
Because I never babysat. I never babysat.
Did you have that book? Did you get that book, or someone foisted upon you what to expect when you're expecting?
Yes, I have that.
Me too.
I never babysat. To be honest with you, 100%, I never really wanted kids. I never did. And then once I got them, once I got my son, and it was like, okay, I never not wanted them, but you know what I mean? Just never thought about it.
I was the same way. I was the same way, actually.
And then, okay, so it was like, he's 4. And then I remember my daughter came, my son was 4. And I was like, oh my God, my son was, he was hyperactive to the max. Woo! Woo! And then my daughter was opposite. She was like almost catatonic.
Totally chill. Wow.
Oh yeah. And then and him, he was 10 and she was 3.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Yeah,
wow!
Like, oh my God! But I don't know. I just think that it's what can I say? It's pretty tough when you have kids and you it's tough when you have kids and you're young. It's tough anytime, actually. It's really tough,
It is. I mean, and especially if you are young, and which I think this probably was the case for you, Pam, as it was for me for some number of years. If you don't have any extended family at all to support you, if you yourself are, motherless, both, in my case, both. So you don't have resources, and you really literally are trying to let me find a book. Let me find something. No internet. We didn't have the internet back then. Might be a good thing. I don't know. But, it's tough, but you find your way. Hopefully, Ooh, 6 boys. Wow.
Wow. Well, you know what? And here's another thing, I was reading, about she had, you don't think she'll ever get therapy. I don't think she will. Because you have to admit first, in order to go to get help, you have to admit you need help.
Yes. Bingo. Yep.
And that's the first thing, and any given thing, you don't just wake up and say, well, you walk in there. Okay. Yeah. That's how you get there, but you have to admit you need help. And she doesn't think there's anything wrong. It's everybody else, it's everybody else. But I will say this is one thing, and I do believe this. Talking about it is the first step. Even talking about some things from your past, it might open up doors to thinking, maybe I should get a little bit of help.
I
it costs money. Therapy, psychiatrist is expensive, and unless you have insurance, and not all insurance pays for everything, and it's very, 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 very tough.
Yeah, and a lot of, especially the big insurance companies, I know a lot of them, the way they structure their mental health benefits is that they limit, there's a cap on how many visits and what kind of visits per year. I know a lot of them are that way. And you're right. I think, just for a minute, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get political, but I do think it's a crying shame in this country that if nothing else, fine, we can sort out all the rest of the health insurance stuff, fine. But in the meantime, I just think it's awful that there's not affordable or even free mental health care, just wide scale for anybody who wants to use it. I really do. How is that not a benefit collectively for the entire society? No, it's not like you're saying, oh, I need some help, I need a therapist. You're not saying that because you want to make money. You're not, there's nothing, you don't stand to gain anything from that except hopefully learning about yourself, learning how to be in society, learning how to be a more productive citizen, all these things, which are all, to me, those are all pluses for society. So I just can't understand why it's not a bigger priority. I wish it would. Maybe we're moving closer, to that, in that direction. I sure hope so. It's so
I wish we did have free medical here. It should be a single payer, and it should be similar, very much to Medicare for all. If you don't stop, hold on, stop.
The fur babies are making an appearance because they heard someone say, "Oh no, it's a little too quiet around there." They're like, "So much for that. Look at us."
No, they're fighting.
Oh yeah, territorial. They each one.
I had another cat here this weekend. My daughter was here.
Ooh, okay.
And my cats is nuts. You're right. They're not.
Many cats.
Let me tell you, I have this TV. My TV's in my room. It's kind of, I don't know how many inches or anything like that, but I keep on there. It's called, what's it called? It's called something Critters. Okay. And I play it all the time. Okay. And at night, at nighttime when I go to bed, because it's that light noise, And then all of a sudden, there was like these raccoons on there, and I heard my cat jump. No. My dresser was kind of full, and I seen the cat. This is Cora, mind you. Cora is standing up with her paws up like this, jumping on trying to catch this raccoon. Stop! Oh my God!
She's trying to protect you from that vicious raccoon, Pam. She was trying to protect you.
Oh, that cat out of the closet last night. Well, the night before last. I said that's the way to come out of the closet. She fell out.
That is so cute. So
cute. It was like, oh my God. She gets up on the top shelf, but she rolled over and and it came flying.
Yeah.
I do believe in single payer insurance, and I think that I think that's where Canada gets it right. I think a lot of countries do get it right.
Absolutely.
And I think that mental care, if nothing more, if you look at all the things that's going on in the world,
we need it desperately.
We need help.
Yeah.
Hold on. What the heck? Hold on.
No, Rebecca, I see what you're saying there. Nothing is free, though. That's true. But here's the thing. Who was it? I think H.L. Mencken, the writer H.L. Mencken, said, I like paying my taxes with it. I pay for civilization. And I think his point, he was known to be sort of like, to have this certain kind of sideways wit, right? So he was sort of being a little bit jokey, but I took that to mean a little bit serious, because what it means is, if you live in a capitalist society, as we do, you're going to pay taxes. It's just a question of what percentage of them goes to what. And in this country, I know Nova's coming from a different country, and some other people here might as well, but here in the United States, the billions of dollars that we spend killing people in wars, including Americans, who fight, just the whole military, there's a reason this phrase exists, the military industrial complex. That is what it is. There's a reason. It's because it's a black hole. It's a money pit. It's a money suck and a money pit. And it's not doing anything for the regular citizens of this country that couldn't be done for vastly less sums of money. Most people think the majority of every single dollar that they pay in taxes in the United States goes either towards welfare or a lot of people think it goes to quote unquote pay for immigration. That's wrong. It's less than a dime. So, people's perception is so skewed, and there's lots of reasons for that. But you're right, though. You're absolutely right. Nothing is free, but it's just a question of we as a collectively as a society deciding what. And I'll tell you, for me as an individual taxpayer, I've paid taxes since I was 13 years old. That's how long I've been working. I don't want my money to go to pay for some of the things that it goes for, but I recognize I live in a capitalist society. I'm a voter. That's all I can do. So I accept that some of my money is going to pay for stuff that I don't approve of personally. So by the same token, I do think I would love for more of my tax dollars to go toward benefiting the collective society. For instance, as we're talking about, improving the general mental health of people. And that's not at all undoable. That is not at all. The money is there. It's just a question of what we spend it on. It really is. It's numbers. There's no mystery. Math is math. Numbers are numbers. It's not a puzzle or a mystery. The money's there. It's just where is it being spent?
I know I was reading this story about this lady. She had to have like some sort of biopsy in her liver and a few other things that she had no insurance, and she had to go to Mexico to get it done because she had to pay out.
A lot of people go to Mexico for things, and unfortunately, quality of care there is spottier than it is here because of deregulation. And say what you will, I know a lot of people, especially in certain camps, are very anti-regulation, and I can go along with that to a certain extent. I do think there definitely can be government overreach, but some kinds of regulation I think are absolutely there to protect the public from things like unlicensed doctors and other kinds of supposed healthcare, from killing you. Let's just say it what it is, right? So yeah, I've definitely heard those stories, Pam. In particular, I'll tell you, those stories used to be rampant when I lived in Southern California, especially when I lived in San Diego, which is just literally right on the border with Tijuana, Mexico.
Right, like people, illness or someplace like that. People go,
absolutely, yeah, and they're also, you can buy things. For instance, you can buy antibiotics right off the shelf in a pharmacy, like a CVS here or whatever your local pharmacy, Walgreens. You go in and buy aspirin or Advil or something. You can buy antibiotics like that in Mexico. So a lot of people will cross the border just to buy certain drugs that you can get over the counter. But yeah, surgeries, liver biopsy, whatever it might be. Sometimes it goes well. There's lots of good healthcare providers in Mexico, just as there are in lots of places, many places. But you sure are taking a risk, though. And it's a shame, right? That's the thing. It's like, why should you have to do that?
It's a shame because, not everybody can afford insurance. And hey, Dave, how are you? Not everybody can't afford
Hi,
insurance.
Dave.
I get that. It's and not everybody qualifies for Medicaid either. Not everybody. You could be in between that rock and a
donut hole. Yeah, you're in between. You slip through the cracks. Yeah.
And it's there you are. If you can't afford it, I could never get Medicaid. I know I couldn't. Because my husband. Okay, even though I don't live with him, they still would.
Yeah, they would probably still factor it. Yeah.
Right. And oh well, you have a lot of money. Yeah, right.
Assets, they'll call it, right? Oh, if you have any assets, do you have a car? Okay, sorry. It's like, really? Are you kidding me? I gotta be destitute? It's like you're encouraging people on one hand. You're saying, well, do for yourself. And on the other hand, it's like, well, I am doing for myself, but I'm still not making quite enough to cover everything I need, including my health insurance. But on the other hand, it's like, no, you make too much. So it's like, okay, do you want me to stop working? Well, then I'm gonna, it's terrible. Talk about abuse. That's our government is abusing us. It's terrible. And the other weird thing that's crazy kind of, and I think some other countries, maybe Noah feels this way. I don't know. Noah, don't let me put words in your mouth, but you're in Ireland. If you just take a couple steps back and stop and think about this, that your literally your life, because we're talking about access to health care, right? Health insurance, to be tied to a job, that's crazy. It's like, what? So not only do you have to have a job, that's one, it has to be a job that provides you insurance. Then it has to be insurance that you can afford. Then it has to be, God forbid, if you have to leave that job, if you get fired, if you become disabled. Has anybody in this room ever paid a COBRA premium to have you familiar with that term?
I know
Talk about bleed you dry to continue. Exactly. If you want to keep your insurance when you're in between, if you have to change jobs.
Right. That's exactly what the provider pays to the insurance company, except they're paying on a group insurance plan.
Right.
You're not paying on that group. You're paying on the individual.
That's right.
So the COBRA is like, this is what the plan is really worth. So you might be paying $900 a month for something that you might have been paying $150 a month.
Exactly.
And it's not the same. It's absolutely not the same.
Yeah, I see Dave saying there, I think it's a conflict for your job to know your medical information. Yeah, I mean, I guess you mean like if you get your insurance through them. I mean, I will say this much, unless it's a completely unethical job place, just because they know whether or not you're carrying insurance, they know that much. But of course, HIPAA laws prevent, at least in theory, prevent anybody at your job place actually knowing any details of your medical history.
Right.
So while they might know, at least your HR department now, your boss, there's no reason your boss should know this. But if you work at any place large enough or organized enough that they have an HR department through which, because that's how our insurance is administered in the workplace, right? Through the HR human resources, they might know if you have insurance or what level of insurance you have, but there's no reason at all they should know, and you use that insurance because you're diagnosed with cancer, or and you use that to access mental health services. Absolutely not. They should not. That's prohibited by law under the HIPAA parameters. So yeah, you're right though. But it's crazy though, even just to think that it should even get that close to being lined up with your job. I agree. I mean, I don't want those worlds to collide, is that, if anybody knows that Jerry Seinfeld episode, my worlds are colliding. No, I don't want all that stuff to be connected, but it is. And we've just gotten conditioned to say, yeah, that's the way it works. But no, you're right. It's a conflict, Dave. I agree.
When my husband retired from the mill, when he was working, I had the best insurance ever. Best. When I had that surgery, I had, how much I paid out of pocket? Nothing.
Wow, that is some good insurance.
Nothing. Not a penny out of pocket. I could go to any doctor I wanted. I had a $15 copay. Now I have Anthem. I hate Anthem.
Yeah, that's a division of Blue Cross, right? I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it might be administered through them, but yeah.
It's not any good. That's what I had before. I had Blue Cross. Wait a minute. Let me think. What is insurance? Because I don't. Hold on. I want to tell you what insurance. Move, Ginger. Let me see. I'm sure it's Anthem, but I might be wrong. Hold on. I might be wrong. Let me see. I haven't used it much, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, see, Nova, that is such a foreign, no pun intended, but that is such a foreign concept to people in the United States. Yeah.
No, I had Aetna.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I hate Aetna. I absolutely hate Aetna. I absolutely do. And, come here. We don't have no dental. I have no dental. And my teeth are horrible. And yeah, they do. They do have good insurances. Are you okay?
And Union, another sort of tier of employees that tend to have really good insurance. This might have been the case, I don't know, for you, Pam, if you were talking about your husband. I think you said it was a mill job. I don't know whether or not that was a union job, but unions will absolutely go to the mat to make sure that their union members get
really
world-class insurance. So that's always a good deal. Yeah, you're right, Dave,
also,
about that.
Railroad insurance is awesome.
There you go. Yes.
Railroad insurance is awesome.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
Yeah. And let me see what else is good. If you're trying to ever get, if you can get, what is it, air something, military insurance, but it's Air Force or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. I can't think of they're really good insurance, but I could not get what I had before, the Blue Cross Blue Shield. I could go to the dentist. Now, of course, dental work was not included. And that's the least that they give you. Is dental work is horrible on any insurance. And so is vision. Vision is horrible too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even with what we had before, it was real always bad, and you come out of your pockets with thousands and thousands of dollars, and I don't know why they don't make better insurance for dental or vision,
That's all about the split up of that, so that it's not just one, because healthcare is healthcare. It shouldn't, your eyes are part of your body. Your
unless you have a catastrophic accident.
Well, right, the catastrophic clause, but most
Yeah.
people, that's not going to be the case.
Right.
They are very expensive, Nova. They really are. The profit margin for large, especially the large pharmaceutical companies here, is obscene. It really is obscene. A lot of the HIV drugs are a perfect example that's usually used to illustrate exactly how really obscene, there's no other word for it, and inhumane, the discrepancy between literally life-saving drugs, and there are other chronic conditions that this applies to as well, pharmaceuticals for them, but maintenance drugs for that condition and others that cost pennies in other countries and on the entire continent of Africa, for instance, where there's not a capitalist profit motive like there is in the United States, cost pennies there per dose, in the thousands of dollars, $6,000-$7,000 a month for the same drug in the United States. Now, granted, a lot of times there's kickbacks the pharmaceutical companies get so that they can underwrite a certain percentage of that. So the end user, the patient, might only pay quote unquote, right, let's say $800 a month. But picture that, $800 a month. That's a rent payment or a mortgage payment or, car payments or whatever else for lots of people, just to stay alive or just to stay healthy. It's obscene and crazy.
Wow. Yeah. I know I was on a medication for mental, and it was $1,600 last time I tried to get it filled.
Wow. Yeah, I could believe it.
$1,600.
That's just
a Plinza. And it's just, and there's no generic to it yet. And it's a pure form of the Wellbutrin.
Okay.
And I can't take Wellbutrin,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just really, 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 really crazy. I have a friend, Tella, who works for Prime for years, and here is the U.S. and Canada. The U.S. takes drugs across the border to Canada, then Canada sells them back to the U.S. That is a fact. Really? Wow.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. That could be true. I mean, I know there's a lot of crazy shenanigans that go on for sure. Yeah. A lot. That's true. And a lot are. Claudia, most Southern people, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You can go to Mexico and get their drugs. You can go to Mexico and get drugs. You can go to Canada and get drugs. And, but if you get caught, you might get in trouble.
True.
I don't understand how, if you have a prescription, or do you not need a prescription in Canada? Can you go across the border I don't know how that works.
It depends on the class of the drug, I think, Pam. And also, it's not just enough for you to say, well, Dr. Jones here in my town wrote me a prescription and I get it at my local Walgreens all the time, so therefore I can get it in Canada. No, it has to be, each jurisdiction has their own rules and laws around tier 1 versus tier 3, controlled substances, et cetera, et cetera. So there are very specific rules and laws around that.
Well, there's even do you know that they are changing the tier for gabapentin? Oh,
I believe it.
They're changing.
I believe it.
Gabapentin used to be a drug that was given for so many different things, but mostly for seizures. It's what it was designed for. They've changed it where it's really kind of hard to get it, Wow.
And probably, I don't know the story behind that. It's really interesting to know, though. I'll bet you, if as they always say, follow the money and you'll find the reason for
Mhm.
changes. I'm sure that's true. There's probably some reason. It could be that somewhere in the R&D, in the research and development pipeline,
Mhm.
in one or more pharmaceutical companies, they've got stuff under development, and they don't want to be competing, or they do. It could go in either direction. Sometimes that's what precedes those
Mhm.
kinds of things. And on the patient side of it, you're usually not aware that there's, it just looks, it's like, well, why suddenly are you making this change? The drug hasn't changed. What's the deal?
But
Sometimes it's stuff behind the scenes.
right. You know what though, Claudia? I think Medicaid is better than insurance. Seriously, because they pay for everything. Medicaid is free. Medicaid is free. Is it not? You don't pay for anything. I mean,
Yeah, I think it is, but Claudia, maybe what you're thinking, if you're saying great insurance to Medicaid, it's probably, at least when I was working with people who were sort of like on the end user side, the receivers of that, it is restrictive in the sense, but it's kind
wow.
of like, it's to me, it's kind of roughly parallel to if you have open market insurance, any of the big insurance companies, either through work or not through work, where there's quote unquote in network and out of network providers, and you might have a different deductible, or they might pay a different percentage versus if you go to an in-network doctor versus someone who's outside of your insurance network. With Medicaid, my understanding is it's kind of similar. It's like, well, if it's not a quote unquote Medicaid doctor, they're not going to pay for it, or they won't pay as much, or something like that. So I'm not sure maybe if that's what Claudia means. But I mean, in terms of like actual coverage, I'm pretty sure if you have a need, an established need under Medicaid, pretty much things are covered. And by the way, I don't know if most people know, but hospitals, well, most people I'm sure are aware that if you have an emergency or you don't have coverage, you can go to the ER and they have to see you. That's the trope that most people are aware of. They have to see you in
Mhm.
the ER. But also, you can call up any hospital, as long as it's not a nonprofit hospital, and ask them, do you have a care for care category? There's different, they call this department different things at different hospitals, but it's under the whole umbrella is, if you are uninsured and if you are in
Right.
that donut hole, that like you're slipping through the cracks, you don't have Medicaid,
Don't
they
know.
will still see you, but you
Right.
have to know to ask for it.
Right.
So
Oh,
you
you
can
know
just
what?
call up the business billing department and say, hey, here's my circumstance. What kind of paperwork do I need to fill out? Whatever, I need to be seen by a doctor. They won't turn you away, but most people, it will either wouldn't occur to them, or they don't want to. They feel
Mhm.
bad or guilt. Please don't feel that way. People out there, don't feel that way at all. Believe me,
Even
these people aren't
insurance,
hurting for money. They're not hurting
right?
for profits.
You know what? I'll tell you something. Even insurance, that's not necessarily true, Linda. That is not necessarily true.
Oh
Yeah,
no, not at all.
no, that's not necessarily true. Even insurance, they only pay certain amount. Insurance is always, doctors and hospitals, they always settle for the lesser amount because
It's called a negotiated rate.
it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
negotiated amount. If they say, okay, this is what an X-ray might cost normally, like okay, $575, but your insurance is only going to pay 165. Guess what? They're going to take that 165 and go about the happy ass way. That's what they're going to do.
It's
I
true.
know because my insurance used to do it all the time. We pay this. They're not going to bill me for the rest. No, they're glad to get the 165 and they're glad about it. Just
It's
like
true. Yeah.
Medicaid, they know that that's money. They know that the government's going to pay that. They might
Hmm.
pay a lesser amount, but they know it's for sure money.
They
Now,
don't have to argue with an insurance company.
right,
Right.
right, exactly. And now, if you walk in off the street, if you walk in off the street to a hospital, any hospital, they have to do enough to get you stabilized to get you to a hospital that will take you. They
Right.
cannot say,
It's
well, we're not going to do this. No. And Medicaid does not cover teeth or vision. You still have to pay. Oh, really? I didn't know that. See, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily quite how it works everywhere. I'm not sure if you're talking about like some sort of state thing. Medicaid is a federal program. I don't know about that, Katie Rose. But if so, though, even if like, let's say you're expected to cover $10 or something, if you
Mhm.
said like, I don't have the $10, there will be resources they can put you, or they should. And if they don't, I would escalate it and say, okay, who can I talk to work this out?
Yeah.
Because I don't have $10, but I need this care.
Right.
It's absolutely federally mandated. Yeah, they should make it happen. Yeah.
You know what they do? They use it as a tax write-off.
Sure. Yeah. It's a loss.
There's a lot
It's a business loss. Yeah.
people every year donate to hospitals, and it's considered a write-off. I mean, I'm sure they get screwed a lot, excuse my language, but I'm sure they do. But now, if you go into the hospital and you have a problem, I went now again, even when I had good insurance, I had an abscess tooth. This is many, many, many years ago. And my whole face swelled up by my eye. It was almost swollen so bad. They took me in. You know what? They took me in before a lot of people because it was crazy swollen, and gave me the antibiotic and stuff like that. And then shortly after that, I had the tooth removed, but not from, I had to go to the dentist. But they will take you, you know. I had a great doctor, well, two of them, and both were gay. Okay, I don't know how you know they're gay, but okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now I don't want to ask, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. Good for them. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for you. The key word there is great doctor. You know what? That's the bottom line. That is a bottom line. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let me see. In my state, you still have to pay if you have to go to another state to see a heart doctor or whatever. It comes out of your pocket. Oh yeah, because usually, if you have state insurance, it's covered by that state.
Right.
So you'd have to stay in the state that you're at. You know, usually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Kate Rose. That's what I meant earlier when I was saying about, like if you had private insurance through an employer or something, still there's going to be doctors who are in network and doctors who are out of network, and you're getting a much better deal if you go to the doctors who are in network than if you go, like, and you're saying your comparison there, if you're going out of state, well, that's so-called out of network, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's all a racket. It's a business. As long as it's a for-profit industry, they're going to run it like a business at the end of the day, and it's sad, but
I'm trying to find
that's what it is.
Indiana. Every time I go to a doctor in Indiana, it seems like my doctor can attest. My daughter can attest to this. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember when I had my hip hurt, when my hip was hurt. Yeah. I went to doctors. I went to hospital. I went here. I went there. Everybody gave me the same. Nothing. Oh, there's nothing we can do about it. What do you mean? I mean, and I just said, you know what? I'm done with Indiana. I'm going to go to Illinois. Well, good thing my insurance can go to Illinois too, and and it, I just don't. I remember how painful that was, and well, I still never found really an answer. Never. Nope, no, I wasn't treated fairly or nice. And, my daughter even called off work, oh my God. That's crazy. Cause I thought they have to treat you to stabilize you.
And yeah, that's what triage is for. If you're having a life-threatening emergency, they don't wait around. At least they shouldn't. I'm sure whoever was involved, hopefully they got fired, got their license pulled. Because that's the whole purpose of triage in a ER, is to establish the degree of urgency. Is it life-threatening or not?
I've always had crappy doctors. It seems like I always end up with these doctors that start off good, and then after a while, it seems like something happened. They go to these clinics, and that's what kills me about clinics. You go to clinics, and oh my God, then all of a sudden, well, this one moved, and then you're going to give you to this doctor over here, and this doctor over here could give a shit less. Like,
yeah, there are crappy doctors. Doctors are not gods. I mean, when I was younger and naive in my 20s and stuff, and I think it's still pretty common, unfortunately, for a lot of us, if we're lay people and we don't have a medical background, to defer to doctors and just somehow think, well, they're the authority, they know the best. Well, let's hope. But there are, again, there are good ones and there are not so good ones. There are crappy ones. Just because they have that you know, that certificate. You don't know. Maybe they were last in their class. Maybe they barely scraped by. Maybe, you know, who knows
Right.
what. But there's no magic to that. You know, there's no magic to that. It's just a specialty like any other, and there are good ones and bad ones. Absolutely, yeah. If they're not listening to you, that's not a good doctor. You got to go somewhere else
Right.
if you can. But like just as we're talking about, a lot of times some people just don't have that option.
Right. That's very true. I mean, again, you not all insurances are equal, and not all things are fair.
True.
And you're right, Claudia. My insurance, I can't get the medicine I need. The one medication that helped depression with me, I can't afford it. And I've tried every other medicine. I cannot take those medicines. I cannot take mood stabilizers. I will be on the
That's so
floor
awful.
throwing up. I cannot take antidepressants. I will be on the floor throwing up. I can take that one medicine, Aplenza, and that was it. That was it. Can't take nothing else. And I don't take any of that now. I said if I can't take what I need, I'm not surely going to take this other.
Yeah. And see,
I
that's so messed up. That's inhumane. The system just shouldn't be that way. I mean, it just shouldn't.
well, they tell you fill out these forms and all this and give a reason why. And you know what? I don't like to do it. I don't like to sell my, I don't like to tell everything and give reasons why
Right.
and all
Right.
of this. I know at one time I had thought about going on disability, and it was just a thought, and I know I had at the time, it would have been a temporary sort of thing. And I tried once, it didn't go. They told me to try again. I said, "Oh no, oh no, you're not getting all my information." And they want to know every little thing you have, you own, and oh no, oh no. And I did fine without it. There is a way. If sometimes you need it, that's great, but they surely do make it bad when you don't need it. And I never got it. I never got anything. Never got one thing. Not to say that afterwards, you know. Mm, mm. Oh yeah, yeah. You have to go to a lot. You have to go to a lot of different doctors just for one thing. You
Well,
go. You go
yeah, specialization, sad to say, but a lot of doctors do specialize more now than they used to because there's more money in it. It is more profitable because of exactly what we're talking about. The way insurance, private insurance primarily, but also Medicaid to a lesser extent, like KE is talking about, going for a cardiologist in a different state. It's structured to reward specialization.
yeah,
They're compensated higher. That negotiated rate we're talking about is,
yeah.
if you ever ask for it, by the way, if you ever get a medical bill, request for it to be itemized. You will
Hey,
get a different bill back. The bill that you get back will be less, I guarantee you.
oh
Hi,
yeah,
Angel Feather. But that's why the specialization,
okay, yeah.
yeah, that she's talking about there. Yeah, it's true. And it's just a big rigmarole. And think about this too, by the way. We're talking about medical care. So it's like by definition, if you're in this system, you're probably in pain, you've got issues you're dealing with. This is the last person who should have to be dealing with a gazillion forms and running here and running there. And sometimes people have to find rides, or maybe they have to rely on public transportation. God only knows, but this is the last point in your life when you want to have to deal with 10 different people when you just got the one body. At least have them all be under the same roof or something. There could be there's lots of room for
Very
improvement.
frustrating.
Yeah, but
I know.
I mean,
I would see this doctor, and then they would change up on me, and then you like the doctor you were seeing, and all of a sudden, well, they're not there anymore, so you're going to see this one, and then, are you kidding me?
yeah, so there's no continuity of care. And that's can be very hard on you too, depending on the nature of whatever the illness or the condition is. Pam, I'll be right back. I have to go check on something, okay? I'll be right back.
You had to pay $12 before I got to go home after gallbladder surgery. Well, that's not too bad. I mean, usually that's just like the TV or something. I had to do that when I had my gallbladder out, and I think when I had my gallbladder out, you just paid for the TV and the phone. Well, at the time when I had that other surgery, I just paid for the TV. I mean, that's not too bad. $12, I wouldn't say. Now, if it was $1,200, that would be a lot, Um, hmm. We don't have heart doctors where I live. Okay. Oh, we do have doctors here that come to your house. Let's take doctors our money. You're out of luck. Oh my God. I wish doctors would come to the house. So we do have doctors that will come to the house here. I would have walked out, Clyde. Where are they going to hold you hostage? Oh, that's true. That's true. I don't know. That's the least they charge you is just for the TV, I guess. I remember here it was the phone, the TV and the phone. It's what you got charged for. I never had to pay anything. Except like I said for the TV. Oh wow. I live about 5 minutes from a hospital. I live like 5 minutes from a hospital. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Well, we always had to pay for TV. I've always had to pay that. But I think they sent me a bill in the mail or something. But I remember at one time when I had my gallbladder out, ironically, I did have to pay that. Oh wow, Center of Excellence. Those are good hospitals.
Okay, I'm back, guys.
Oh, welcome back. I know I'm going to be going in a few minutes after take
Yeah.
the dog and stuff.
Yeah, I got to go too here in a couple minutes.
Oh my God. I cut everything off cable and all these companies like Netflix are too expensive. That's very true.
Cutting the cord. A lot of people are doing that, Kate. There's a lot of free ways to access a lot of good free entertainment online. I will say I haven't been able to let go of my Netflix. I still got Netflix. I do. I have Hulu too. I admit it. Yeah. Yeah.
I have Netflix. I rarely watch Netflix. I have YouTube TV. And I really like it. I really like it. And I have what else?
I have Amazon Prime, so I have
Yeah,
Amazon Video too. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there too. I've seen a lot of really interesting documentaries on Netflix that I don't think are available elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Louise is right. Yeah, lots of good places for free movies. Maybe sometime maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I'm saying someone. Why don't I just do it myself? Trying to give somebody else a job to do. compile a list of places to find free movies and other free stuff online. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not much of a TV person. But I do watch for real. I do watch American Idol. Don't ask. I used to watch it, and it came back. And when it came back this time, it became my what's it called? Your kind of thing that you like.
Your guilty pleasure. Now, is American Idol, is that the one where Lionel Richie's one of the judges now?
Yeah.
Okay, I have watched it. I love Lionel Richie. Love him, love him, love him. I think I told you. Commodores. That was my first concert when I was in high school. I've watched 2 episodes with that range of judges. I used to watch it years ago. Religiously, our whole family. It was a family thing. We all watched it. I've also watched some episodes of The Voice. I do we're big on music in my family, as you know, a couple of my sons sing. One of them's classically trained, so we love I love those kind of shows. I'm right there with you on the guilty pleasure with that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy it. I truly do. I
do too. Well, Pam, I think I'm going to hop off. It's so good to see everybody. I've been out of the loop a little bit, traveling and stuff, but I hope everybody has a good rest of their Sunday, including you, Pam. Hope little Ginger's coming along.
Yeah, and doing her thing.
I'm gonna catch up on videos. I do want to see that one that we were talking about, and hope to see everybody again soon. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
I'm going to go too. I'm going to go because I got to feed the cats, and Ginger can eat in about 45 minutes. So what in the heck is going on? I swear I got a ghost in there. I don't get it. But anyways, I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank you all for, spending time with me here. And I appreciate and really like your comments. It was very, very good. And let's talk later, okay? Talk to you later. Bye.